Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts back once again with another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing, in my personal opinion, one of the best new shows on Netflix in quite some time, The Haunting of Hill House. Now, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. I'm not a huge horror fan, but the trailer got me intrigued and I like the visuals. And I think it was interesting what they were showing, some of the horror stuff, some of the character stuff. Okay, I'll probably check it out. So the show dropped, and then me and the girlfriend watched the first episode thinking, okay, we'll see what this is all about. We instantly got hooked, and we binged it over the weekend, and I have to say, to me, this is a great show for many different reasons, but I'm not going to go into any spoilers particularly because I feel like if you haven't seen the show yet, which you really should go watch the show, there are some major spoilers throughout this show that you really need to experience yourself and not hear me say it. But this show surprised me in so many ways because it really takes place over two timelines. Now, there are some jumping around because this is not a linear story where you see them, this family, which is the Crane family, in this house, them as kids and the mom and dad, and then we see everything that happens, and then we go to the actual present day, which is them as adults, the kids. It jumps back and forth. And what I really like is that they tease some really big points they finally get to in the show. They tease it early on, but they don't reveal a lot, like early on. They just slowly build up to some things. Now, at some instances, this show is a slow burn, and there are some moments where it's more focusing on these characters, whether it's them as kids or as adults. But what I like is that they're giving you enough context. They're giving you enough emotional moments with these characters that you're completely hooked. You're invested. And what I think I really took away from this show is that their main focus wasn't the scares. Their main focus was these characters. And that's what I really love, is because nowadays when you look at horror films, mainly horror films, but also horror TV shows that try to come out and all that kind of stuff, a lot of it is just for the scares. It's built for how gory, how scary in terms of jump scares can we make this? How scary and terrifying can we make the monster or the ghost? And it's not about the characters. Now, yes, one element is, of course, the scares. And one element is, sure, a design of a creature or a ghost or whatever it is that the story is based around. But when you have characters that are nothing and the characters don't have any depth, and you don't care about them, then I think your movie or your TV show falls apart. This show has found a great balance of character and scare. And what I like is that there's only a few little jump scares. The majority of it is just creepy imagery, and it focuses on these characters and how they react and how they respond to certain things they're seeing or certain things that are happening. And there's moments where you're questioning if this is actually happening or if this is a dream. It's one of those shows that keeps you on the edge of your seat because you don't know what's real and you don't know what's in someone's head. It's all over the place. And what I think really made this show more interesting is that all the characters, the mom, the dad, and the 5 kids, all have different things going on. And it really just adds to the weirdness and the creepiness of the show, because if all the kids were kind of the same and then the mom and dad were like just one way and there was not any layers to the characters, it would feel like a typical family in a horror movie or a typical family in just whatever type of film or whatever type of show it is. But the fact is that there's twins and they have kind of the same personality, but they tend to drift apart when they actually grow up. And then you have the oldest son who experiences a lot of weird stuff, but is a completely different character when he actually grows up. And then you look at the 2 middle children, and they are complete opposites of each other for the most part. And the mom and dad seem to, they're trying their hardest to keep this family together and trying to figure out what's going on in the Hill House, and they're trying to think of okay, well, the kids, they're seeing stuff and they're saying they're seeing these things, but we know kids like to make up stuff. So it's a very fine line between them believing the kids and them thinking, well, the kids are just making stuff up because they think they saw something, but maybe they didn't. That's what I think is most interesting about this show, is that it's the characters. It really is. The scares add a whole nother element. Now, the entirety of the show was directed by Mike Flanagan, who has done some other stuff in the past, and he has done a phenomenal job. Usually when a director stays on for the entirety of a TV show, whether it's a season or whether it's a couple episodes or whatever, usually a director does not stay on for the entirety. But Mike Flanagan stayed on for the entire 10 episodes. And it really shows in a good way because he seems to have really found the right balance on creepy imagery and doing long shots and just really finding interesting ways to shoot some of these sequences, because it really stood out in a great way. Because you could easily just pop up on a horror film that just has horrible cinematography, just horrible everything, and you don't see the love, you don't see the passion that was put into it. And Mike Flanagan has found just a lot of great ways to make this show stand out amongst others in the genre of horror, drama, supernatural, as it's being titled under here on Wikipedia. For me, I think my favorite character was Theo. I think she has a very interesting through line, and there's something that she actually has in terms of like an ability. I won't say what it is, but it really adds to her character, because I feel like if she didn't have this ability, she'd still be a great character. But I think what she experiences as a child and then what she goes through as an adult really adds to how she is grown up and how she stands out amongst the other kids as they've grown up. The mother and father, I think, are two of the most maybe interesting characters for people, because I feel like the father and mother, they have this family, but they just tend to like drift apart, and there's things where they're questioning each other's decisions or whatever, and there's these moments where you're questioning, okay, who do I root for and who do I not root for? All these characters have flaws, and I think that really makes sense too, because all these characters go through some really interesting experiences at Hill House, and I won't go into specifics, but they all see something different. It seems that this house, Hill House, has so many things going on within it that each family member experiences something different than the other. And I think that adds to it too, because if they're all seeing the same thing, it could be scary, it could be creepy. But I think with them seeing something different and them experiencing, or them having a different experience than each other, adds to it as well. The first episode sets it up beautifully in terms of what's happening with them as kids, because this was taking place in the summer of 1992 when they were children, and they were jumping to, of course, in 2018, 26 years later. So those are the two timelines. There are some moments where they're within the 26-year range, like they're in the middle somewhere, and explains it within the timeline of like title cards or whatever. But when you watch this show, and it's not linear, it jumps back and forth, and there's things where you go back to certain scenes and you see it from a different perspective, or you see something different, it really just adds to the creepiness, because there's things that you think are happening this way and it's actually happening another way. And it really blows my mind. This show really blew my mind of how well it was done. It really did, because this could have easily been a linear situation where we see all, like I was saying earlier, all the kids, all their stuff, and then the adults. No, because they want to savor some of these really high point moments that make you go, I didn't think about that 4 episodes ago, but now it changes everything. Like, they continue to add on to the craziness, and they make it cohesive, and they make it work. I mean, this show could have easily fallen apart if these actors, or if these characters you didn't care, like if the actors weren't performing well, because the kids were great. Usually when kids are in like a TV show or in a film or whatever, and they have to play a lot of different emotions, and they have to do and they have to have a lot of range for the kid actors, like for whatever these characters are, usually stuff will fall apart. And if usually within horror films and TV shows, if the characters are flat and they're nothing, the show or the film falls apart. In this instance, all the characters, in my personal opinion, are great. All the characters have their moments of awesome, love these characters, and not really sure if I'm feeling this character because of their decision. There's a lot of moving pieces. And for me, I had to pay attention, because there are little details that if you are not paying attention to the show every single moment as it's on, if you're like you're on the phone or whatever, or doing something else while the show's on, you're going to miss key parts that makes the show better, that makes the show worth watching. So if you haven't seen The Haunting of Hill House, I highly recommend it. This show is phenomenal, and I don't know if they're going to have a season 2. I'm not going to go into specifics of what, what happens within it to possibly get a season 2, but I would like to see it. But I think if this is it, I'm perfectly fine with it, because I think they tell a beautiful, emotional, creepy story that really stands out, and I highly recommend it. If you're a horror fan, if you're a drama fan, if you like supernatural elements, whatever, if you just like a dark-ish with some light moments, but if you like a darker Netflix show and you're okay with horror, because it's not like, bloody and gory and stuff like that, but if you like horror, this is for you. If you like dramatic family element storylines, this is for you. If you like just creepy, this haunted house or whatever, if you like that type of stuff, you're going to like this, I guarantee it. So, there you have it, guys. That's my non-spoiler review. I'm sorry that I wasn't really too specific with a lot of stuff, but this show just needs to be watched without you knowing anything. The trailer really doesn't reveal a lot, and I really like that, because they could have easily shown a lot of big points within the trailer and you don't know it, but when you watch it, you're like, oh crap, they revealed that in the trailer. Nope, a lot of stuff is hidden within this show that they don't show in the trailer, and I'm really happy that they didn't reveal that stuff. So, there you have it. That is my review of The Haunting of Hill House. Hope you guys enjoyed the review, and make sure you go watch the show if you haven't seen it already. Peace out, guys.